Hello, thank you very much for being here. I'm a little bit the alien of today's forum because I'm okay. I try because I'm telling you something a little bit more from a more general perspective on digitalization. Because we are thinking on this issue a little bit on a higher level, so that we are thinking that digitalization is digitalization of society and industries. So I'd like to show this slide where I have two hints what digitalization means and what is going on. At the moment we got 50 billion devices are connected across the whole world. And this seems to be a very, very big potential for new business. And just a few companies use this possibility, almost famous companies like Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, and also Microsoft, and of course Facebook. They have a worth of 4.07 trillion US dollar, and that is enormous number, even if the German big companies, even the big 30 big companies in Germany just have a worth of 1.02 trillion dollar. So the German industry likes to get into this business, not to go into the digital business, but to go in the digitization business. And my company is supporting the German government and its ministries by consulting to the leading question of digitization. And so I'd like to show you some questions that will arise or that have arisen in manner of digitization. We think about the digitization that is a disruptive change that is comparable to the Industrial Revolution itself. And the questions that arise are, for example, if computers do more and more work, how do we earn our money tomorrow? Or if computers become our colleagues, will they become also our bosses? And do we like to work with a computer as a boss? And also, especially as Germany is famous for its hidden champions for worldwide success in some special technical issues, if corporations become more and more important, can there still be hidden champions? And also, if people are more using products instead of owning them, which role will play then production and the selling of products? And also we have to think about some sustainable reasons, sustainable issues in digitization. If a rising amount of data will be processed, how we can manage the therefore used or needed energy demand. And in the same manner, if products become smarter, are they also able to handle resources extraordinarily efficiently? And I guess it's the last question for this session. If our infrastructure is digital controlled, like smart cities we have, for example, here in Seoul, how can we ensure reliability and security? So these are very urgent questions, and that's because the digitization happens now. We have now to answer, will we redesign the transformation, the digital transformation, or will the digital transformation dominate us? And in which digital world we want to live? One answer to this question is the Industry 4.0. The German known brand Industry 4.0. In some manner, in some cases, it's also a brand. Meanwhile, has some bullets some main bullets as answer. we are talking when we talk about Industry 4.0 about network production, new business models that are enabled by digital techniques. We are talking about new legal issues and smart factories indeed. There are some other really important bullet points, but that's the big four, I think so. And the German industry is interested in this issue not for the issue itself, but for the possible growth that it's forecasted by several studies. And one example is that the Fraunhofer and Bitkom, it's a famous German association of the IT industries, forecast a growth of 78 billion euro until 2025. That's a big growth, and the German companies are keen to earn it, but we have to go away until we are there. And at the moment, we are talking about the aims that it's connected to this digitization and the Industry 4.0, and we have not only the revenue of a growth, but also growth in some strategic fields like the environmental growth and the social manners. In the economic way, as I told, we have some growth potential that's very big, but this is reached by increased productivity and flexibility of the production. And one aim is to flexibilize the production of a mass producer so that it is possible to produce customer individual products. And on our environmental side, we have the aim to reduce the energy and resource demands and increase, therefore, by that, the sustainability and even the circular economy we heard about before. It's also a really important topic in Industry 4.0. And we think by this way, production becomes again compatible with urban life and also with urban manufacturing at the end. On the social side, we are thinking, or we are aiming in the Industry 4.0 on good working conditions for everyone who is involved in the industry, and the autonomy of each person in this new production world, and the social inclusion. But we don't switch the switch and came from 0 to 100%. We will go this way in a few steps, or we want to go this way in a few steps. And we start nowadays as a normal producer of some certain products, and we go this way up and we'll enrich the skills that are needed to go this way. And the first step will be to connect and act live. That means that we want to connect industries in themselves, so that someone in the planning room can see what is happening in the production and can arrange his plannings optimal to the production side. And in the next step, we like to connect the industries across the boundaries. Therefore, due to that, we have the possibility to optimize where processes are running in a whole value chain or a value network. So the pre-producer knows when he has to deliver the pre-product, and also the producer or OEM himself knows when he has to order something from a pre-producer and can give the customer a sign when he can await his product. And after it, we are going to a real first growth step where we want to add the normal products. For example, a laundry machine, I'll come to this example later, by services. And so we have a new business based on our former known product, also a little bit with more digitalization techniques, but we have almost a product and sell with this a new service. And the fourth step will be to go to fully digitized business models, where we design a whole new growth business ecosystem. And to do so, we have to educate the workers and also the management, because the therefore needed skills will increase, especially in digitalization things, but also in some other skills like with social dimensions. And the integration of production lines will increase. At first, vertically, as I told, that we can connect the planning office with the brownfield, and afterwards it will become on the horizontal level, where we can connect the production side or the brownfield of one company with another, and after that also to connect it with a customer, so that the production gets the information from the customer when the production has to run. Yeah, and beside the skills and the integration of technologies, we have also to elaborate standards that will be the basis for doing so. So here are some examples for standards we have to manage until we go live with this concept. And at first, we have to talk about which industrial communication protocol or communication standard will be used in future. And one favorite one is at the moment OPC UA. I guess it's also known here. And afterwards, you have to talk about which semantic do we use on this protocol, and also how do we manage the interoperability of services? How should services be described that they are suitable for all participants? And after that, we have to elaborate some cross-industry standards. That means the standards not will work only in one branch, for example, the car manufacturing industries, but also in the car manufacturing industries and, for example, the metal producer companies. So that we have the interconnection of different branches by standards. I'll skip the slide and come back to it later. And the question is, why should companies do it by their own? And where we have found some reasons that are very reasonable. At first, by these techniques, every company has the possibility to ensure its quality. Also to minimize its time to market, which in nowadays very important to fulfill the customer needs as fast as possible. Also, the companies who do digitalize their production and their whole processes can increase their productivity, expand their flexibility, as I told, until the customer specific products. And at the end, it's possible to realize new business models. So, to bring this into a picture for you, I wrote down a little example. What can digitalization mean for a company? In this example, the company is a laundry machine producer. Everybody knows laundry machines. And at the first stage, or the zero stage, nowadays, they produce just laundry machines and sell them via the established distribution base, normal business. At the first stage, to a digitized business model, this laundry machine producer integrates a smart washing liquid container into his laundry machine. And by this new data he can get from the customer, from his laundry machine, he will deliver the washing liquid by time, depending on the time when the stock has to be exceeded. And also the laundry machine chooses the right washing program, the right washing liquid, and therefore the customer's comfortability will be enriched. At the second stage, the laundry machine will be connected to the smart home of the user or the customer. By this, the producer gets in communication with his device while the operating phase. And due to that, he has the possibility to offer some special services, for example, maintaining and repair, even before the accident or the breakdown happens. And also he can manage for the customer the right washing program by the weight of the washing load and so on. And also he can deliver the washing liquid depending on the use of a machine. There's a big difference to before, where he delivers the washing liquid just on the time that is gone since the last delivery. So he comes in contact with his product in the life cycle, across the whole life cycle, and has the possibility to do new business based on his old product. That's an important step. And also, by the data out of a running phase, he has a possibility to optimize its product. The next generation of its product, the next laundry machine will be much better designed in some manners that he gets by watching the data and analyzing the data. So the next generation of his laundry machine will fulfill the customer needs a lot of more than today. And at the third stage, the former producer of a laundry machine delivers the laundry as a full service. The customer has not to care anymore about his laundry machine. He delivers to the customer a fully automated laundry machine that he runs by the internet for the customer. The only thing is to do that customer has to fill the laundry machine with his clothes. And after that, everything is done automatically by a machine. Or another possibility is that the customer gives his dirty clothes to the laundry machine producer. He gets it by logistics, wash it up, and bring them back to the customer. And he has not to house a laundry machine. So it's a full service offer. And that's a lot of business opportunities. And what is one example we are thinking about and try to foster Industry 4.0 for such transformation. And now I come back to this slide where I'd like to show up the status of a transformation of a German industry towards this kind of production. Yeah, we started some years ago, and at first we had to talk about the lingua franca of Industry 4.0. That means especially the basic setup. What is Industry 4.0 and how can it be characterized? Just if everybody knows about what we are speaking, we can discuss. At the next step, we managed to do to fix a to-do list. What is to do in research and development? We talked about legal challenges. What is to do in the kind of regulation to foster Industry 4.0, and we had a lot of papers given to the government. We talked about new business models and also standardization and norms that is essential for the Industry 4.0. Just if we got common standards and norms, we can go to interoperability of systems. And the last step, the last point we talked about is the data ownership. And this was planned to ended up until 2017, but the work is still in progress. We are discussing on it very, very hard with a lot of stakeholders, and so it's a big process. And on the way, even especially to the standardization and norms, we are trying to get in contact with other countries to discuss our approaches at a very early stage and to develop these approaches with other countries, so that we have a kind of understanding before the proposals will go to the norming committees. And what is and as I said, this is going on, but we also started here by educating SMEs and training also this staff, and go to some federation that hosts the companies in Germany. It's the so-called Industrie- und Handelskammer. Somebody knows perhaps. And we are working already on concepts for cloud infrastructure and how we can build up digital platforms. About these digital platforms, we are trying to, in a first step, to interconnect the industries. We are talking about autonomous systems and deep learning, but this is in a very early beginning. Okay, so the focus after that will be, as I written it down, data-driven business models, like the laundry machine producer that do not anymore produces or sells laundry machines, but offers the service by digital data. Digital ecosystems and platforms, the network economy. So, and as I showed, we have worked since a few years on this whole topic, and this was supported by the government. And the first strategy was written in 2011, where a scientific organization, the ACATech, I guess are relatively good known also here, wrote its first agenda on formerly known, in that time known cyber physical systems. And this strategy was transformed in the first two projects. The Industry 4.0 first project was then concluded in 2013. And this was pronounced by our Chancellor and the President of ACATech. And the first research program was the Smart Service Welt, where the first ideas by the science was built up what could mean Industry 4.0, or especially the Smart Service Welt, from the then known, or the cyber physical systems. And after the researchers and education field discussed it, the first real platform was concluded, and it was carried by the famous or very well-known association of the IT industry, the electronic industry, and the association of machine builders, mechanical engineering. So they carried this platform for several years, but then the Ministry of Economic Affairs in Germany likes to hold the leadership, or wants to get the leadership, and since then the platform Industry 4.0 is ruled, it's financed by the government, by the two ministries of Economic Affairs and the Ministry of Research and Education. So, and that's the platform I'm working for and coming to you today. And how does it work? How does the work in a platform runs? From our point of view, digitalization and the discussion on the concepts that are needed for are a cooperation discussion, a discussion that has to be done in a close alliance of science, economy, politics, associations and unions. Because just these stakeholders are very relevant to realize anything industrial in Germany. So the Plattform Industrie 4.0 brings these parties together in a big discussion procedure, and we built there up 6 working groups until now. There's a working group on standards and norms, one working group on research, one working group on security of network systems, one working group on legal issues, one working group on the new working world, and the working group for new business models. And these working groups are consisting of overall nearly 200 companies, 200 employees of companies who are discussing it in an industrial way, what could be the concepts of a future. So corporations are driven by the national and international exchange of expertise, and we try to mobilize SMEs in this context, and we give recommendations as well as for the industry, but also for politics. What can politics can do to support the development of Industry 4.0? And as I told, we have a working group on the new working world, and there are the big working associations also involved. That is very important in Germany due to the the dialogue between the employers and the employment is very necessary to do any renewable of the industry. And if you'd like to see something what we have done until now, there are 2 ways to get an insight. We have on the one hand the online map, and on the other hand the library. And on the online map, it's an example, where you can browse through Germany, but also to more countries where we have shown up some use cases where Industry 4.0 already is run. That is a very good insight in what is realized until now. And that's for sure, that's not the Industry 4.0 at a glance, but it's the use case for specific topics of Industry 4.0. And the examples you find there consist of these shares of companies. We have very small companies with nearly 1/3 of examples come from companies with 1 to 250 employees. And you see it's really nearly the same share by the different sizes of companies. So you can find examples that fit to all sizes of companies. And the online library I mentioned before, you find the work we have done until now. I mean, we have circa 50 own publications in our platform elaborated. And also you'll find there are some publications of partner associations, like partner organizations like the Electronic Association or the Association of Mechanical Engineering, also the Association of IT Industries. So it's a very good step into the discussion in Germany. Yeah, and a short outlook in manner of urban production. By the Industry 4.0, another approach is to split up the work to very specialized jobs, so that over platforms, for example, someone can find new partners for new products. He gets a request from a customer for a batch of something new product he doesn't produce he did not produce before, and he has the possibility now to go over such a platform to find someone who can do a special job that is needed, or a special process that is needed for the new product. For example, I've written it down: drilling and welding and a lot of other special technical processes you know very well here also in this quarter. And when these companies can be, should be connected to a virtual company that produces this new product by the customer needs, just in time that the customer wants. And I think that could be an approach that could also work here in Ceylon, because you have a very specialized field of craft workers. And if it's possible to get them in such a digital platform, and someone from outside can ask for a special task, and it's not necessary to know each handcrafter by its own, it could be a step into the digitized future. Thank you very much.